Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. Welcome to a Monday edition of the program, Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We got JC lined up here in just a second. Then we'll have Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com recapping the weekend, recap what happened in Rocky Top. Looking forward to Eastern Washington, where we are, I think, somewhere in Eastern Washington today. We're hiding out from the hurricane. So anyway, let's go to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by JC. JC, you're on the Titan MR hotline. What do you think?
You look like you are somewhere out in the wilderness. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm out in Eastern Washington somewhere.
Right.
We're camping.
Well,
we're camping till the game time, and then we're going to fly back if the weather permits.
Yeah, see, and that's what I'm worried about is watching the Weather Channel, dude. This Friday, Saturday situation could be pretty tricky around here. I don't think there's going to be a game. I'm just going to predict it. I don't think there will be a game, but I think the weekend showed us a lot of things, and what I take from it was the silver lining being the play of Anthony Richardson, obviously, and some of the players around him, and seeing how Florida, I think, met that challenge pretty impressively. Not giving up, not quitting, scoring 2 touchdowns late, and making it interesting there at the end.
Yeah, offensively, we played very well.
Yes.
I was surprised a little bit at how Tennessee played us.
Mm-hmm.
They played a lot of man. They basically one high man, allowed a lot of potential plays down the field, which we made.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, we just are not a very good football team. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah,
Ventrell Miller's a really good player, but other than that, I like our corners. I think our corners are decent, but the rest, it's just a work in progress. And Tennessee, they stopped themselves. They had 2 turnovers,
yeah,
a fumble on a reception, a strip sack, and then a turnover on downs when they were up 17 with a minute and whatever left.
right.
We were not stopping them. I was so impressed. That's the first time I've seen that kind of team in person.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they went so damn fast, it was crazy. I couldn't believe how fast they go.
Yeah.
But, there's been people, we got a ton of texts. I'm trying to pull up Facebook, and I don't know why I can't get it. But regardless, people are talking about, Billy should have not gone for 2. Look, none of that matters, quite honestly. We went 5 for 6 on 4th down conversions. 5 for 6. We would have been 6 for 6 if Anthony goes where the play is designed on the quarterback run. There was 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. For some reason, we ran quarterback sweep, which he scored on earlier, and he took the snap and ran like quarterback power in like the A and the B gap.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even follow his blockers, and he fumbled. But if he would have scored, I don't know what made him do that. But we would have been 6 for 6 on 4th downs, which is crazy.
Yeah, rarely does that happen, certainly. I guess the thing I also liked, though, was the passing yardage. Total yards for Anthony was the most in an SEC game in school history. So, I mean, I didn't expect to see that. And certainly I think with that environment and that crowd, the challenge was met head on. They went right at it. And that's what I like seeing. And that's what, I think the culture of this team is about. It's about taking on that adversity and not hiding from it. And I like the way the Gators played. Those last 2 scores made the final score closer than I think most people thought. I had Tennessee at 38, so I got that right, but I didn't have Florida scoring 33. But I think that, all in all, this was a good test for Florida, and it's about where I think we would be. This is about where I thought Florida would be after 4 games, QB.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to try to pull the Facebook on my phone and see if it's working there because it's not
Okay.
working on the computer for some reason.
Well, while you're doing that, I looked at our picks from the Peachland Dental Picks Contest on Friday, and I had you at 6-5-1, and I had me at 8-3-1. Yeah, 8-3-1. So, a lot of crazy football. The finishes on college football Saturday were crazy. And some of these games, how Missouri lost to Auburn is inexplicable. I've never seen a team with 3 opportunities to win a football game blow it all 3 times on such high percentage opportunities. You didn't see it, QB. But Missouri's place kicker missed.
No, I watched it. I was watching it in the press box.
Okay, so did you see all 3 things that happened to poor Missouri? I mean, their kicker misses an extra point that would have won it. Well, it's a field goal, but it was the length of an extra point. They went off sides when Auburn missed a field goal in overtime, giving them another chance. And then the running back dropped the football in the end zone. Clearly, to me, Auburn is the worst team above Vanderbilt. They're the next to last team above Vanderbilt in the SEC.
Yeah,
I think Missouri's
they're
better.
not. They're not good.
I think Missouri's better. I think Missouri's better, and I think LSU's going to blow out Auburn this weekend.
All right, we got a couple of texts. Let's get to these here. It's from Chris on the Titan More text line. Says, Shane, would you agree that our 3 best receivers are Pearsall, Whittemore, and Shorter? Those 3 need to be on the field all the time together. The score at the end of the half, and then again the first possession of the second half killed us. That's why you defer. No, you just got to stop. I mean, they went like 90-something yards within like a minute. Yeah. Tennessee is really, really good. I mean, Hendon Hooker was outstanding. They're really good on offense. Defensively, I'm not sure. I don't think Tennessee can beat Georgia. I don't think Tennessee can beat Alabama the way they play defense, quite honestly. Right. I think their front 4 is okay, but their secondary ain't real good. This is from not sure who. It says, morning QB, when does Billy and Tony take Dean off the field? Trey Dean had some missed assignments. Obviously, I think everybody knows that. I don't know. I know a couple series he was not in there. They had Kamari Wilson in, so we'll see. This is from Daryl. Good morning, guys. Shane, with the personal foul penalty on Coach Napier, for I couldn't tell from my vantage point in the stadium, Neyland Stadium is old, needs a lot of upgrades to the restrooms and concession stands.
Yes, that's true. Very true.
Well, I will tell you this: it's a tremendous venue. They've done a ton. When I was on the field and then walked up to the press box area, they have a whole section lower bowl. I don't think it's on where the Gator fans sit, but on their side of chairbacks that was really nice. I sat in them because I was like, man, we need this.
Yeah.
Then one of their on their second level in one of the end zones, they have an open area, kind of how Mississippi State does, but it's up high where you can see. I like that. But it's damn, that place is loud. I ain't gonna lie.
I told you last week it's the loudest place in America, but it didn't get the credit for that.
Well, they do pipe music in, and they have these microphones all through the stadium that's right in front of their band. So when their band plays,
makes it louder.
It's louder than it should be.
No, I know, but the crowd noise is suffocating. It's deafening. It's like LSU. It's every bit as loud as that. And listen, when they win, that community is all in, and it's been a long time for them.
So back to Daryl's question about the personal foul on Coach Napier. I had no problem with it. It was the not from calling holding and those type of things. I'm not complaining about the officiating there. But from just the schematics of clock operation, reviews, spotting the ball, it was the worst I've ever seen. And those officials were clueless. Coach Napier's personal foul penalty went for a whopping 1.5-inch penalty.
Yeah, that was not a problem.
Yeah. He was upset because it took them all that time after Tennessee called timeout to then review the play and all this stuff. It was really confusing, but it was garbage. Not garbage on the penalty, garbage the way the officials handled it. This says, hey, Shane, most people question why did the coach or player do this here or there after they've seen the play and the field and replay 15 times. Of course, you can question a million things, but if we hadn't made by QB and receivers even half of the missed throws, like you said, we would be celebrating Saturday. was progress for me. I guess he's referring to the games before this game. Yeah, we threw and caught well. We made some plays, and that was good to see.
Yeah.
I
like Zip's play. Zip's play was really that, I think, set the tone for that offense. It showed that they're ready. They're going to try to make something happen for Anthony, help him out a little bit. Those receivers need to help Anthony out a little bit. I think that's what you saw for the first time. For the first time in the season was the receivers actually doing something to help him out a little bit.
Well, I'm going to disagree with that because I thought they've helped him out. He just didn't hit him until this game.
But QB, a lot of times, looking back at those first three games, it seemed like the receivers always ran away from the quarterback instead of back to him. And, David Pollock was talking about that on game day, is that, if some of these guys, their routes, he missed a lot of open dudes, but man, some of these guys.
Here's the thing, because I had people texting me about the David Pollock thing. JC, he works in TV, which you did too. So what he did was he picked about two plays out of 150 where the receivers were covered. Okay. Right. That is not what has happened. What happened and what is good about this game was Anthony completed balls and he made really good throws. Now he just has to be a consistent player. You need to see it week in and week out. It can't be one game play well, second game miss all the throws. Hopefully that will happen.
Right.
Dan says he loves Shannon the color with his descriptions and emotions. I got to learn to keep my mouth shut as I see a play developing, but I had a lot of moans and groans in there when I saw dudes just running wide open before the play even developed. And I'm not supposed to do that, but it's hard to keep your mouth shut.
Moans and groans. What are you talking about, moans and groans?
Well, like Sean will be going, Tennessee has the ball on the 35, Hendon Hooker, guy in motion, takes a snap, and then I'm just going, oh, no, because I see a guy wide open.
Well,
and I'm not supposed to do that.
Well, yeah, okay, but
I'll do one of these as the play as he takes a snap. I go, oh, because I can see what's getting ready to happen.
Well, yeah, QB. Look, I mean, it's what your 8th game as a guy that does this. And
yeah, but it's hard as an analyst when you see and how plays are going to develop. To not make sounds, but
I'm going to be honest, brother, listening on Sirius Satellite Radio, so many different announcing crews, even in the NFL, you hear the color guy go, oh, Lord, oh, no, oh, yeah, go. Yeah, you can kind of get that, but it brings more to the experience. I don't agree that you have to be, dude, I'm an announcer. I tell you, I love your natural, the natural reactions that you have is what people want. And I think Sean will work with that with you, and you guys will be fine. But the natural reaction to what you see is what separates you from some other voice in the space. That's what you want. I'm sorry. If you want to say, "Oh no, this guy's wide up," maybe just don't. I don't know. QB.
Well, I'd be better off not watching because I want to say a lot of things. Matt says on Facebook Live, "What are y'all's thoughts on him not kicking a field goal early and then going for 2 late in the game?" All right. Here's my 2 cents. Everybody has their own opinions. I've played, I've coached. You can't forecast what's going to happen later in the game, right? You can only you were calling. Okay, we have the opening. I think it was the opening drive, and I don't know how long the field goal. I can't remember. It was 4th and 1. We ran quarterback power. We get stuck, but Billy called. If you look back at how he called this game, he knew we had to score touchdowns every time we touched the ball because he knew we could not stop them. This was before they even touched the football. He knew that going into the game.
Yeah.
So I had no problem with it. I had no problem with him going for 2 because they're analytics now. He's an analytical coach. So is Todd Golden. And I talked to some people. There's this chart or these codes and all this stuff with these analytical people. And the probability was higher going for 2 than kicking it, according to the analytics at that point. So leave it at that. I didn't care. I wanted him to go for every 4th down there was. Nobody had a problem with him going for the 4th down, 4th and 2 or whatever it was on our own 30-yard line, and Anthony hit the go route when they played man coverage.
Yeah.
It worked. So everybody, nobody's questioning that. So
yeah.
He's an aggressive coach. He knows he has to be aggressive because we can't stop anybody.
Well, it's taking the challenge head on and being that way, attacking attacking is how you play with these how you play in these games, QB, especially like you said, when you're handicapped and you know that they're going to score. I had them at 38 points. They could have had 40 something. So, yeah, you have to attack them. You have to attack them and hope they make mistakes. That's the only way to play against high octane team. You cannot be defensive, passive. Yeah, I know we said that, ball possession would be important. Keeping Hooker on the sideline would be important. But the reality is that the game moves at a much faster pace with a team like that.
Right, but I thought his plan was phenomenal.
I did too. Like I said, I think Florida played better than most people thought they would play. Now, defensively, you're right. I mean, other than Miller, it's a struggle, man. It's a struggle.
Yeah, Ventrell played really hard. He's a good player. And,
Florida easily could have lost the first 3 games. And defensively, they made a play against Utah, and South Florida kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit. Other than that, I think Florida is what they are. They're
7 or 8 win team. If you beat a couple teams you're not supposed to. Joe said analytics is going to be stressful. We got to just embrace it. I mean, from an analytical standpoint to going for it on your own 25 multiple times, what's the difference? That's stressful.
Yeah, very. Because you're basically giving them points if you don't make it, for sure.
Right, but they were going to score regardless if they got it on the 20 or they got it on their own 1 yard line, which I think they went 90-something yards in one drive. Defensively, I said all summer long I thought our defense was not very good. I think Ventrell's a really good player. I do like our corners, but other than that, there's just nobody that can make plays and do their responsibility.
Yep.
Zach says, Shane, what was your take on Hendon Hooker slapping and elbowing our defender on the ground? I never saw that before. Also, why no penalty on 33 driving Anthony Grant? All those. I mean, there's so many plays. I don't even remember those. I have no problem with the game, the way the game was officiated from a playing standpoint. It was all the other nonsense that was ridiculous. So anyway, let me get this text here. This is from Chris. Chris says, looks like Anthony's learning not to throw only fastballs. Yeah, his deep balls were very good. He threw the one ball, and I think I made a groan or a comment or some sound on the one he threw to Pearsall that he laid out and caught. Oh, JC, he had shorter, wide open for a touchdown.
Yeah,
we had the same guys in like the same area. I don't know what, that was a blown. Somebody blew that. Chris says Shane's "oh no" makes the broadcast better. Don't stop. Yeah, but technically I'm not supposed to do those things. He just comes out at me. They need to move Cox to linebacker or move him around like they did Saturday. He can't hold the edge at the end. They did. They moved him as like in a joker position, I like to call it, with their 3-man line where they have people walking around. And yeah, he would shoot the A or the B gap. He caused some havoc there. So it was good. Joseph says giving up the long drive before the half with 1:30 on the clock was the backbreaker. Yeah, I mentioned that on the broadcast because I knew Tennessee was receiving the opening kickoff of the second half. We had to keep them from getting points there at the end of the first half, but that was a no-go. Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Darlene Weeby, a realtor with Caldwell Banker Emmett Parish, will provide you with fast, friendly, and reliable service. Call her today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. Speaking with JC on the Titan MR hotline. All right, JC, let's talk about some of the other games before I get to Scott Carter here in a little bit. What else stood out to you?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, that Missouri collapse stood out to me. I found that there were some really interesting games I thought Arkansas literally handing the game over to Texas A&M was tragic. I don't know if you watched that game on the plane.
Yeah, on the plane.
Yeah, the way they fumbled the ball and gave it away to A&M. I think Arkansas just flat gave that game away. They should have won it, but they didn't. And so, that's where we define teams, is who can finish. I don't really think there was much more in the league outside of those outcomes. Alabama had 55 on Vandy. That was not a surprise, but I thought what was a surprise was that Vandy didn't score at least one touchdown on Alabama or the reserves they had. Georgia and Kent State. I don't take much from that game, but I was impressed with Kent State. I really had to be, because Georgia, every game, it's like you say, you got to play hard as you can. I know for a fact Georgia's team was mentally not there. And you can make that excuse or not, but there's no way that Georgia is only 2 touchdowns better than Kent State. We know that. So I think, Georgia's getting tired of playing these kinds of games, and they're ready to get into the meat of their schedule in the conference, I would think. Tennessee, I agree with you there. I think Tennessee will be hard-pressed to win at Georgia. I think it'll become a game between them and Kentucky as to who finishes third or second, rather, in the SEC East. Outside of that, the Pac-12 was somewhat interesting. I was impressed with Washington State hanging with Oregon, and Oregon State hanging with USC. And like I said, my picks were 8-3-1, and you were 6-5-1. So we both had winning records. And somehow I don't know why North Carolina can't stop literally anybody. It's an embarrassment. Gene Chiswick's a great defensive coach, but he's having a lot of problems in North Carolina. So
I wanted to bring up Miami. We got Scott said, I wonder if Mario Sugar Daddy's still going to keep paying millions for players or games like that. I mean, it wasn't even like it was close. I didn't get to see any of it. I saw the score on my phone.
They benched the quarterback. I mean, they took him out.
They took Van Dyke out?
They took him out. They benched him. They benched the quarterback. But that doesn't explain how Middle Tennessee State's Blue Raiders scored 40-some-odd points on your defense. That's where I would be very concerned, because defense is about effort, and they had 0 in Miami. And Florida State, they did what they were supposed to do. Jordan Travis played, so they're happy about that, and they're undefeated. Clemson had a great game with Wake Forest QB. Lots of offense. Didn't expect to see that much offense coming from Wake on Clemson's defense, but a very exciting game. Wake's a good team. Clawson's a great coach. Gets a lot out of that program. Virginia Tech is a mystery. I still don't understand why they have so much trouble attracting top line coaches there. And Texas, Texas, we talked about how great Texas this, Texas that. And sure enough, they get on the road to play a team they're favored by a touchdown over, and they lose. And that's just Texas. Oklahoma was surprising to me. Kansas State put it to them. I thought Adrian Martinez was unbelievable. But that running back, Deuce.
Number 22, Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce Vaughn is really amazing. And Kansas State, clearly they were looking ahead when they lost to Tulane the week before, but Kansas State's a threat to win that conference. There is no doubt in my mind that they can beat anybody in that conference after what they did to Oklahoma. So Kansas State's a team to keep your eye on in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, so do they have a loss in the Big 12? Who did they lose to?
They lost to Tulane the week before.
Oh, okay, that's right, Tulane. So they're undefeated still.
Game. Yeah, a look-ahead game. But Martinez was really unstoppable. Oklahoma had no answers, which is surprising for Brett Venables' team. And I was somewhat surprised by that. Ohio State did not surprise me at all. I had them beating Wisconsin big, and they did. There is no question in my mind that they are far and away better than Michigan and everyone else in that conference, especially when their wide receivers are healthy. Those guys are NFL players, and they will score as many points as they want to against anybody, including Penn State and Michigan.
All right, before we jump into the NFL, Javier wants to know, should we hire Jeff Collins as a defensive analyst? No. We got plenty of analysts. If he can't line up and tackle somebody, he ain't gonna do us damn very good.
Yeah, no. Well, okay, QB, I also meant to mention my Kansas Jayhawks. Big win over Duke. Duke's a very improved team.
Kansas, I read somewhere, Kansas isn't even ranked. Is that true?
Yeah, that's going to change this week. And if it
No. The rankings have already come out.
That's right. Well, that doesn't make a damn bit of sense. Jalen Daniels is a quarterback everybody wants on their team. And Jalen Daniels.
Where did he come from? Do you have any idea?
I don't know, QB. And that bothers me. I should have looked it up. But he's excellent. They're 4-0, the Jayhawks. After going 2-10 last year, that coach, they better wrap him up or somebody's going to pluck him out like maybe Nebraska.
Oh, that dude is leaving as soon as somebody calls. He's gone.
Listen, he came from Buffalo. He came from Wisconsin Whitewater, won multiple Division III championships, then went to Buffalo, brought them to some sort of respectability in the MAC, and then from Buffalo took on the challenge of Kansas. He's the kind of guy that I've heard really enjoys challenges, Lance Leipold. So we'll see if he tries to bring Nebraska back or stay at Kansas, but that would be the destination, I would think, for him. But we'll see.
Yeah. All right. The NFL yesterday was wild and crazy. I don't know. I meant to write it down, but the amount of plays that the Buffalo Bills ran compared to the plays that the Dolphins ran, I've never seen that.
It's crazy. But QB, there was a coach for the Buffalo Bills. I think it was their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Ken Dorsey.
Ken Dorsey in the booth. pulled a Shane Matthews in the booth. When you coached for Buchholz Bobcats, calling plays, and you lost your mind and shit went flying everywhere, this guy from Buffalo did the exact same thing with his. I mean, it was everywhere.
Well, you know what? Okay, so there's two
hilarious.
things. There's two things. There were two things that really got to Ken Dorsey. And I didn't talk to Ken Dorsey. I don't know Ken Dorsey.
Yeah.
So the Bills had the ball like on the 5-yard line, 1st and goal, and didn't score earlier in that, like in the 4th quarter.
Yes.
And then that last play, he was so upset because the damn receiver didn't run out of bounds. He tried to cut it back inside, and the game was over.
That was McKenzie. And
yeah.
I don't know what's going through these kids' minds. These players got to know the situation, and the situational football is so important. The last 2 minutes in the NFL can be the difference of winning or losing. And Buffalo, I had a feeling Miami was going to play hard.
They had like 80 to 90 plays compared to like 35 for the Dolphins.
Dolphins, right. Well, listen, McDaniel, he's undefeated, man. I told you he was going to be a good guy, a good coach down in Miami.
Yeah, well, they're fortunate.
But look, the team that stole the day are these guys right here. Mm-hmm. And what they did across country, even though Herbert was probably not 100%, 38 points, QB. When was the last time they looked this efficient on offense? And it is a direct correlation and a direct reflection of the guy on the sideline as opposed to the idiot they had running up and down the sideline last year with no idea.
Yeah.
And I do mean that. Urban Meyer's a great college football coach. He is an idiot when it comes to the NFL. Doug Peterson is a very good and maybe even a great NFL coach, and he took on this challenge when he said, I want that quarterback, because he knew what he could do with Trevor Lawrence, and you're seeing it happen right now. And with guys like Marvin Jones and Etienne and that great running back James Rodgers, they're a threat to score now, and I can't remember when that happened last. And I think Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence probably the reason why. They're 2-1. They have to go play the Eagles next week. Eagles are very good, undefeated. I don't know where this Jalen Hurts has come from. Could be a very good game. Could be one of the better games in the NFL next week. But that's a tough assignment going across the country to the Chargers and then having to go play the Eagles the next week. But good for the Jags are first place right now. They're in first place in the AFC South.
No, I'm a huge Doug Peterson guy. I've always been.
Damn right. I mean, he has really, really made a believer out of me on that side of the ball. And by the way, they had the number 1 pick in the draft, Walker from Georgia. That defense, Josh Allen, another Josh Allen, they are nasty. And it's good to see because back in the day when they played the Steelers, back when we had Marcus Stroud and John Henderson and Mike Peterson on that defense, Jacksonville had one of the most aggressive, nastiest defenses I've ever seen in my life. And they had blood games against the Steelers back then. So it's good to see, man. Jacksonville, I think, is back.
Yeah, those two teams last night, I watched some of that game. Those two teams have a really good defense. The 49ers defense is nasty. I don't know how
nasty.
I didn't realize they lost the game until I woke up this morning.
It was 11-10. And
did they go? Obviously, the Broncos went for 2 and got it.
The Broncos, they had 5. It was 7-5. It was 10-5. Yes, they went for 2 and didn't get it. They scored a touchdown.
So they had a safety?
They had a safety.
Oh, because when I went to bed, well, at halftime it was 7-3. So I figured it was 10-3, and then the Broncos scored and went for 2.
7-5, and they had a safety. Garoppolo was really not good last night. Denver's defense played quite well. It was 7-5, and then San Francisco fooled around with the football, couldn't get it going, and next thing you know, it's 10-5, and then it's 11-10 when Denver scored a late touchdown converting some third downs, and they went for 2 and missed it. Final score is 11-10. But that was that was a tough game for the Niners to lose because defensively they were tremendous, just tremendous. They have issues on offense right now, and I don't know why, because Garoppolo's been there for so long, and him and Shanahan have been working together for so long. I don't know why.
But he wasn't even on their team till like a week ago. 2 weeks ago when they signed him. Right. All right, we got a couple of texts here before we get you out of here from Frank. Sure. On the Tatum text line, he said, "What's with the offensive lineman standing still after the snap? That play never seems to work." Okay, what they're doing is if a guy jumps off sides, the lineman don't move. Everybody else does it. What happened in the game the other day is nobody jumped off sides. The officials didn't call it, so it turned into a really bad play. All right, this says this is from an anonymous texter. He says, Don't change how you are in the booth. Well,
exactly. QB, You be normal. You be you and just let it flow. It will flow because what will happen is Sean will adjust to you. Listen, you're the Gator, okay? You're the guy who's played. You're the guy they want to hear too. So just be you, QB. That's the best thing I can tell you if it matters to you. Because when you were playing football, I was doing this stuff. And to me, it's about authenticity. It's about being the person you are. And if that's how you react to plays, that's how you react to plays. Don't let anybody tell you you shouldn't this or you shouldn't that. Either they keep you in the booth or they don't. And that's right. That's who you got to be, QB.
Jeff from Plant City says,
I think it's great.
Can we talk about our third quarter production as we are one of the worst teams statistically coming out of halftime? I would agree with that, but not in this game. Just seems like we are not doing a good at making changes at half, and I agree our D-line needs a ton of work. The D-line is what they are. I've been telling y'all that since freaking May. They ain't changing. It is what it is.
So, QB,
we played well in the third quarter this week.
So tell me why Tennessee fourth down didn't just punt the ball down there and kick, get Florida down inside the 20.
Because they were only on about the 40-yard line. I can't remember what yard line it was.
Yeah.
But if Hendon Hooker scrambled and he threw to a wide open tight end, the tight end they were on the same page, and I mean there was nobody within 15 yards of him. He probably would have scored. But if they get the first down there, the game's over.
Yeah. Okay.
I had no problem. I would have done the same thing.
You would have done the same thing. Okay.
But what I didn't understand, here's what I will say, that I thought Tennessee did something that I would do as a coach that a lot of coaches don't do. On the Hail Mary, the last play of the game, that we had a chance to throw it in the end zone and win.
Yeah.
They rushed 6. Most teams rush 3 or 4, let the quarterback run around and then launch one. No, he couldn't get it off because we didn't have enough. We couldn't block him.
Well, the ball didn't even get to the end zone either. Right. So, I mean, that's I agree with that 100,000% because we've seen too many Hail Marys work, and they should never work if you defend it properly. So. Yeah.
So, all right, JC, we're going to get to Scott Carter, get his thoughts. We'll talk to you on Wednesday. We're still waiting on Aaron Judge to hit his 61st. How many games they got left?
I want to say 2 more weeks of baseball. Basically, it ends beginning.
What if he doesn't hit another one?
Yeah, well, that'd be a really disappointing thing. I mean, at the very least, tie the record. But I don't know, QB. I think it'll still happen.
Do you think? Okay, so we all know the Maris's very well, and they're at every one of the games. I think they play in Toronto the next series. I think the Maris family's going there.
Yeah.
Do you think they're secretly going?
Yeah,
I hope he doesn't hit one.
Absolutely, I do. They got the shirts that say 61.
Or do you think the Yankees are paying for the Maris's whole trip?
I think the Maris's can take care of it, QB.
Well, I know they can. But
I don't know about that, but here's what I will say, guys: keep your watch out on the television. This storm, if it hits Friday and Saturday, we will not have a football game. I'm just telling you that.
So right now, on whatever today, you're saying there will not be a game in the Swamp.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I haven't really followed it. Maybe I need to go watch. Probably go. Well, I'm in the mountains, so I'm safe.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
We'll
That's
see
JC joining us on the Titan MR hotline. We're going to take a timeout, come back. We'll be joined by Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. You're watching and listening to Pot Up Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate, where premium brands like Escape Apology, F45 Training, Regal Cinemas, Dave & Buster's, Nike, Prime and Pearl, and the HBC's restaurant Spurrier's Gridiron Grill now selling Head Beer Coach American Lager at Spurrier's, Visors, and Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. Going to head to the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, and we're joined by the senior writer of the FloridaGators.com, Scott Carter. Good morning, Scott. You well rested?
Hey, Shane. Got a little bit of rest yesterday, man. But, I always feel a little groggy on those Monday after those games. But at least we didn't get kicked off at what? We got out of there at least a lot better time than normal.
Well, it was a long game. Let me start first by this. I want to talk to you because I haven't seen all of Billy's presser. I know he addressed his unsportsmanlike penalty, which I had no problem with it. Billy's extremely smart.
Yep.
He had a reason to be yelling and screaming for sure, but he knows even if I get a penalty here, it's like a 1.5 inch penalty.
Yeah.
Was that one of the worst, not from holdings and pass interference calls or anything like that, but was that one of the worst games from just the schematics of clock management that you've ever seen by an officiating crew?
Well, I watched the replay yesterday because, when you're there, I'm doing a lot of things. I'm not engaging maybe every play like you are. And I was shocked at how much the flow of the game was disrupted by the officials. Yeah. And, there were some legitimate calls, but there were also some pauses and delays that it was just like I'd never seen before. So, I could see why people are complaining about it because there was some unusual stuff going on. And obviously that situation where Billy did get the penalty, I don't know if I've ever seen a play where, they stopped it and then nothing happened for a few minutes. And then the official finally announces what they're doing. And then they took more time. So I could see why he was upset.
Yeah, he was very upset. Dan asked on Facebook Live, "Is that Washington behind me?" Yeah, we're somewhere in eastern Washington since we're facing them. I didn't want to put the red turf on the screen. And speaking of that, before we jump back, Scott, do you think we play a game this week?
That's a great question, Shane. I saw where USF down in Tampa has canceled classes all week and already. So we haven't made any decision. I'm sure that's going to be evaluated today. I'm probably guessing they're meeting right now, the administration and stuff about stuff, but I hope so. But we'll just have to wait and see. It's going to be, I think, a day-to-day thing. We've seen this happen, I think twice or 3 times in the last decade. It's crazy.
Yeah. Greg says the penalty gave the Vols a first down, QB. Yeah, well, they were going to score, my man. If you had watched the same game I was watching, they were going to score from 2 inches this far out instead of that far out. It didn't make a difference. So let's go back to Anthony. I thought had his best game as a Gator. I thought he played outstanding. I was thinking about this on the plane ride back when I was watching other games. This is just, I was just thinking, he's played well as a starter this year, when we weren't supposed to win the game. Meaning, nobody thought we beat Utah.
Yeah.
Nobody thought we could beat Tennessee, but everybody thought we should beat South Florida and Kentucky. We were favored in those games.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just trying to think, maybe is he trying to put too much pressure on himself? Is he better in games where it's a close game and it's a track meet where he can be looser? I mean, you think back to LSU last year when he played well. We were behind, so there was like,
just go make something.
Let it hang loose, and if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter because we're losing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything to that, or am I just dreaming up stuff?
I think there probably is something to that if you listen to Anthony and the people who he's closest to last week. That was one of the things that kind of came up. Like, he's got to go out there instead of, the old let the game come to me, right? Just go out there and play. Let the game come to you instead of trying to make everything happen. And I think we've got a small sample size with Anthony so far, obviously, but I think there probably is something to do that. Again, I think it goes back, Shane, to his maturity, his growth process. All this happens for young quarterbacks, young players when they're first assigned to be that guy. And he talked a lot about this summer about, being that guy at Florida for the first time and some of the adjustments that you have to make. And I think there probably is something to that. But I think that's where Billy Napier, they got to teach him, man, go do your thing. That's who you are. That's who you have to be for us to have success.
Yeah, I thought he played really well. I thought he had one, if you're, and like I said, I didn't watch the game tape, and even watching the game tape, if you don't know what's called or what his assignments are, but his worst play was a 4th down play where we called what he does best, quarterback sweep to the right. He scored on earlier in the game. It was that 4th and 2 or whatever at the end, and he fumbled.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he didn't stay outside. He took 2 steps and cut it inside like it was quarterback power. He'd still be running. He would have hit his head on the goalpost. Did anybody bring that up in the press conference? What he was thinking?
No, that didn't come up. I don't think that specific play. A lot of it was just about how he turned it around and what that was. I mean, right after the game, sometimes the guys are not going to give you too much insight. I think his main message was, he just went out, like we talked about earlier. He went out to have fun and got some things going, credited the work that they did in the week with the receivers, had a little better rhythm there. But also, I think they played the way they were going to have to play against Tennessee, because you knew Tennessee was going to roll on offense, but you didn't know if Florida could match them. And for the most part, they did. And obviously, the key play of the game in terms of one score was that fumble by Anthony that turned it, that put them 3 scores behind. If they score there, we're probably looking at a different game. And amazingly, they still were there at the end.
I mean, there's one punt in the entire football game.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Greg says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, I don't like going forward on 4th downs on our own 22 with our defense. Well, that's why we're going for it, because even if we punt it, they're going to score in the next 5 or 6 plays. So he was playing extremely aggressive, knowing that anytime we gave up the ball, if we didn't score every time we touched it, we had 0 chance. And as you just stated, we matched them until that drive, because I kept saying on the air, whoever makes one stop is probably going to win this game or force one punt. Well, nobody did until that 4th down when Anthony fumbled. That was the one stop that Tennessee got. And then, as you said, they drove down and made it a 17-point game, and we still made it close. But it was crazy. All right, let's switch sides. Offensively, we played well. Defensively, it was what I thought it was going to be. People keep saying, what can you do to get better? I really don't know, Scott. And, people wanted to get all over Todd Grantham last year, but we couldn't stop anybody last year either. So there's a common denominator. We got to go recruit.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say when you said I don't know. And I was going to say, Shane, I know. They got to get some better players. I had a guy on Facebook when I traded some messages yesterday, a fan who was really upset. And I was like, look, this is who they are defensively. And you look on, they don't have Brandon Spikes out there. They don't have a Joe Hayden. They don't have a Keanu Neal or a Jared Davis or even a Sharif Floyd, even guys in recent years. They have some good players. They have a lot of young players. I think they have some players that in other eras probably wouldn't be at Florida. Let's just be honest with how it is. So I think they've got to recruit better there. I think they've an upgraded talent. And this is just the way it's going to be. I mean, we're going to see another game or two like this against a high-powered offense. They're going to have to outscore them. So they're not suddenly going to start, holding teams to 300 yards or less, I don't think. That's just they got to get some better talent there. And I just feel that Tennessee going into that game, you knew Tennessee was going to rack up 400 or 500 yards. And that's exactly what happened. I think they ended up with 576, and the Gators could not make those key stops And I know a lot of fans are upset about some of the breakdowns in the coverage, and those are things that you can be addressed. I don't know. Napier was going to say they were going to watch the film and maybe give us some insight today at the presser. But yeah, we saw a couple of those that kind of open your eyes,
Brian says here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melvin Law. We had somebody earlier talking about Tennessee needs to upgrade their stadium, and he says, "I love the Swamp, but can a Gator complain about the bathroom or the stadium?" Meaning, yeah, when I was walking up to the press box area to take the elevator up, I thought their concession area was outstanding on the home side. They had so many different like barbecue places, but we had somebody complaining about their concessions and stuff. This is from.
It's. I walked around on the east side, opposite where we were, Shane. It is like 1950s over there.
That's the Gator side, yeah. But the home side, I thought the concession area was awesome.
Yeah, they've done a great job on that side. Yes.
Yeah. This is a text saying Richardson needs another 2 years of collegiate play before he leaves for the draft. He's weak mentally. I don't know. He's in my opinion, he's gone after this year. He's going to be a first-round draft pick, and that's just what the NFL does. We shall see. Joseph says, bad thing is Dean probably balls out in practice. That's the only reason I can think he's still playing. All right, let's bring that up. Obviously, that's a big topic on Twitter and everywhere, Trey Dean. But again, it's easy for us watching on TV, not knowing what the coverage call was, whether Trey thought it was, or was the call zone? Was it man? We don't know. Obviously, it's looked bad. But I think we'll get more of those answers today, maybe in the press conference.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to definitely be brought up. And like I said, Billy said the other night, they got to watch some film on those plays. But yeah, I think it's going to go back to obviously some kind of communication issue. Is it on Dean? Very likely. Or is it just on another guy? I don't know. Coach is probably not going to throw him under the bus like some fans would like. But, Trey's had his troubles back there. There's no doubt about it. Oftentimes, he's a good tackler in the open space, but his coverage, I think, is suspect at times. So, but I don't know enough of the X's and O's and what actually happened in those specific incidents. Hopefully, like I said, Billy will shine some light on it.
Todd says, guys, does it appear to you that about 70% of the RPO ends up being running back run up the middle? Can we add some more wrinkles or just do away with RPO? First play of the game was RPO. There was slant to Justin Shorter. RPO is run pass option. So a run play is called if the quarterback's read doesn't allow him to give the ball to the running back, he pulls it and throws it. Maybe you're thinking zone reads. But most of the team, and Anthony kept some of the zone reads. I was surprised at how Tennessee played us a little bit defensively, quite honest. So I have zero problem with what we're doing in the RPO game with him. Just sometimes when you hand the ball off, the other team stuffs the run and it doesn't work. That happens a lot. The other team has good players. So Greg says, I thought the O-line didn't protect AR or run block well. Well, I would say that if there's a strength of the Tennessee defense, it's their front four. I thought their secondary is garbage, and they played so much man. I was shocked. But anyway, I thought we played really well offensively. I've had people text me, why didn't we run the ball more? Damn, people, we threw for 400-something yards. We hadn't been able to complete a pass, and now y'all complaining about us not running the ball. I thought offensively we couldn't play any better.
Yeah, they didn't lose that game because of the offense.
No. All right, Scott. So we get ready for Eastern Washington. They're a very good. Well, I haven't followed them this year, but in the past they've been a very good FCS program coming across the country. I mean, I haven't followed the Weather Channel, but as you just stated earlier, there's a good possibility this game gets canceled.
I mean, it's certainly on the table this morning when you look at the trajectory of the storm and the timing. I would think it would have come through Gainesville by that time, obviously. But, there's so much preparation around the city that has to be done that takes preparation from a big game day. So like I said, I'm sure there's meetings this morning on all this stuff. Hopefully, we'll find out something by the end of the day. But I would think right now it's certainly a possibility that it doesn't get played. But we'll just have to wait and see. I mean,
I think what plays a big factor in this, because you never know how these storms are going to work out, but it's not like we're playing Charleston Southern, who's right up the coastline.
Yeah.
Eastern Washington has a hell of a long ways to come. And when do they, they're probably coming in on Thursday. When are they going to come in if they come? So it's there's a lot of stuff up in the air. All right, before we let you go, injury report. Ventrell Miller was outstanding. He played his tail off. I would doubt he would play in a game like this, maybe get some rest, but we probably need him. But anybody come out of there with any serious injuries?
Nothing surfaced after the game, and on the replay I watched, I don't recall anything specific injury wise. So, like Ventrell, like you said, I think he's going to be a guy that is just going to have to deal with his lower leg there for the rest of the season. But he played a great game. I mean, if they didn't have him, Tennessee may have scored a couple more touchdowns. So
it's a shame because like Amari Burney, he plays hard and he runs around and makes plays. Yeah. He is just not good in space. But if you watch him, when they blitzed him sometimes in the A and the B gap, I mean, he just blew up their offensive lineman. He had that strip fumble. He's a good player. He's probably out of position, but we don't have any. I mean, I don't know what to do with him. But anyway, I know Anthony got dinged up a little bit. I don't know if it was a blow to the head during the game. Any thoughts of him?
No, he was fine. He was fine after the game. I mean, I don't see anything there. He stayed in there. If that was something that came out today, that would be news to me.
I just know he went into the tent because I was watching him. And I think it was one of his quarterback runs to our sideline. He really took a blow to the head, and he came back and played really well. So it's all good. Well, Scott, we appreciate your time. We're going to take our final time out, come back and wrap up some stuff, but we'll talk to you next week, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Shane.
Hunker down for the storm. Hunker down.
That's right.
That's Scott Carter. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline. We're going to take our final time out, come back and wrap up this Monday edition.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker M.M. Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogra State Farm Office of a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance option for you and your family. Visit ograinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1770. I want to thank JC and Scott Carter for joining us on the Titan MR Hotline. This day in sports brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Give Comfort Temp a call, 352-376-2366. This day in 1993 at the Ryder Cup, the U.S. beats the Europeans 15-13. Davis Love III secures the victory for the U.S. on the 18th hole. And yesterday, Davis Love, the captain of the President's Cup, the Americans beat the international team. It was, I watched a little bit of it here and there. It's fun to watch. Great crowds there at Quail Hollow in Charlotte. And that's This Day in Sports, brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Tent. Tomorrow's program, we'll have Buddy Martin on. We'll also probably going to have Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com. Guess what, folks? Gators start basketball practice tomorrow. So we'll talk to Chris again about Gator hoops. And don't forget, Todd Golden's a big analytical guy as well. So I'm sure he will do some things that you folks question, but I had no problems with anything that Billy Napier did the other day. He's trying to win the football game. And if we don't go for those fourth downs when we did, we get blown out of the building. So anyway, be safe out there, folks. Get ready for this storm. We don't know where it's going. I guess I better check it out myself. Hopefully the Gators play this week, but it could be canceled for sure. Hope you enjoyed today's program. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.